E15th installment of Sports Talk from A to Z. I'm Avery Schaefer, here once again with Zan Bando.
Hello.
And we have quite the docket of things today, don't we?
We sure do.
So why don't you run the viewers through kind of a roadmap of what we're going to be discussing today?
So we're going to start off by talking about college football, specifically Ohio State quarterback Justin Fields created a petition which has now received thousands and thousands of signatures over the last few days, I would say 72 hours, demanding that the Big Ten reconsider and reinstate the 2020 fall college football season. We're also going to cover the news of John Jones officially relinquishing his light heavyweight title in pursuit of moving up to heavyweight to potentially fight Francis Ngannou or Stipe Miocic.
And anything else we come up with along
the way. That's exactly right. We could probably even add in, you may have seen it, it just broke like an hour or so ago, but the U of I football parents, the majority of them, have written a letter to Commissioner Warren asking for more transparency in the whole decision behind canceling the Big Ten season. So I'm curious as to how that will go. And also, Lovie Smith and Josh Whitman, also as of the last hour, have declined to comment on the letter from the parents or anything that's going on with Justin Fields or any of the Big Ten advocacy.
Wow.
At this point.
Wow, I saw that earlier, but I had no idea until you just said it that Lovey or Whitman didn't even do as much as comment on it. Wow. Okay.
That's exactly right.
So let's back up for a minute. What do you think of the petition itself? Do you think it's?
Oh, I think Justin Fields is doing great things, because this not only speaks for just college football, but it speaks for all university athletes from all over the country who are probably feeling the same way he is, that they're getting their seasons taken away, and that, you know, the world is opening back up and we're trying to get back to normal, and they want to figure out a way to be transparent and make things work, because that's how the entire world is pursuing life right now.
Okay, so let me throw a question at you. Let's say this petition is granted and the decision is reversed.
Okay.
How do you play football safely?
I think you have to make some sort of a bubble, and you have to make sure that it's all conference. It's a conference-only season. If that means shortening the season, you shorten the season. But here's my theory. You may have seen this yesterday. Michigan State has decided to close campus for the entire fall semester, and because of an uptick in COVID cases, Notre Dame is sending students home for 2 weeks.
I saw that, yesterday. And I was going to ask you about that, but you beat me to the punch there. So,
and then also, what do you think of North Carolina officially suspending in-person classes?
Well, I can't really argue with it.
No, me neither.
I mean, at this point, every precaution that can possibly be taken needs to be taken. And we started this show back in March, right?
No, I think we started it more so like at the beginning of the summer. I think it would have been late May, I think.
Okay.
We started being at home in March, but I don't think we started the show until like May, I think.
Okay.
I could.
So
I could.
so we've been on the air May, June, July, August, four months, right? And
Right.
in in every single episode, or at least it feels like that, in every single episode, in some form or another, we have talked about safety and the sporting world. And we have said repeatedly that football cannot be played.
Right.
So you support that theory, and now you support Justin Fields?
Well, here's the thing: if so many players are so frustrated about it, you can't help but feel for them just a little bit. And it affects more than just the players. It affects the reporters and the broadcasters and the student workers like myself. And initially, I was just thinking about the players, but no, it affects way more than just the players. It affects a lot of different people around the athletic department. So, I mean, the thing is this: it's difficult because now if you don't play the season, it's going to be hard. Guys are going to have to figure out, do they want to go to the NFL? Can they get an extra year of eligibility to be able to play? Like there's no set criterion. What makes me upset is the biggest thing that makes me upset is that the players don't have more of a say because they're the ones actually playing it. And number two, what makes me even more upset is the lack of transparency from the Big Ten commissioner who has NFL experience and is supposed to be leading this charge. Like, he's supposed to say, I think that I just feel like it's him versus the coaches, and I think that that's wrong. There needs to be a collective agreement with whatever they decide, which is what the frustrating part is. Whether it's right or wrong to go ahead and play, what needs to really happen is there needs to be more transparency amongst the presidents, ads, and commissioner. In my opinion.
So are you saying the Big Ten athletic director, and commissioners have essentially pulled a Donald Trump?
Yes.
Here's what we're talking about, folks. Sports mirrors the real world. Here's a prime example of someone sitting in the hot seat in prime position to actually do something to make these athletes' lives better. And similar to the president, he does not execute. There has been, I think it's fair to say, a lack of execution.
And then also, I don't know if you saw this, but supposedly there are new reports coming out saying that the vote was never 12-2, and that the vote was never 8-6, and that on that Tuesday or whatever it was, they just had an open conversation. It was never. There are all these new reports coming out that there was actually no vote at all.
Okay, so I have to turn on you. We are both journalism students.
Right.
And therefore, we care a lot about the accuracy of what we say and the accuracy of what we hear and the reporting process.
Yeah, and even credible reporters don't know what's true. They don't even know.
How do you hold someone accountable for information dispensation if you don't even know what information isn't being dispensed?
I don't know. That's a great question.
Like, covering this pandemic and covering the sports world in this pandemic, and anything else for that matter, has been an absolute journalistic disaster.
Oh, 100%.
Not to mention that in normal times, the journalistic process over the past, say, 10 years has been a disaster. But that's another story. But reporters and athletes and coaches and all those involved are doing the best with the information they have, which is none.
Right.
Which is none. So, Justin Fields, while I support your position and your willingness to play and your desire to play, the only thing I can say is you're making that decision based on emotion, which I understand. But you don't have any fact that says playing football is safe or playing football isn't safe. Whereas if you go the Trevor Lawrence route and you develop something like a players association for collegiate players, then you can have a team who actually gathers fact and makes a decision based on actual hard data.
Right.
So I don't know about this petition, honestly. Is it a petition based on fact, or is it a petition based on emotion? Because if it's a petition that's fact-based, I'm gonna put my journalism hat on for a minute. Show me what horse you used. Show me the horse's mouth. I want to talk to him. You know?
Exactly.
And there is no horse. There is no backbone to any of this, anywhere. And it's just so frustrating to see the world operating inside the sports world and out by a lack of hard evidence. We need hard evidence. We need a leader that supports and goes by hard evidence.
Right.
The people need answers, whether
Right.
that's in the sports world or not.
Right.
Like, do you get what I'm saying here?
100%.
And would you agree with it or no?
I mean, I agree that there needs to be more transparency. I disagree with the fact that I feel that Justin Fields has a platform and he should be able to use it as he sees it. But I would agree that Trevor Lawrence's proposition of a players' association would be more beneficial for everybody involved. So I will give you that much.
Okay, so give me your arguments for why Justin Fields should be able to make this petition based on no hard fact.
Well, I mean, he has an open platform. He has the right to say whatever he pleases. I mean, if he doesn't use hard facts, that's one thing. But at the end of the day, he just wants all they want is a plan. They want a detailed plan that's transparent, that's honest, that's open, and that's something that they can go to they want the support of the university, they want the support of the students. They don't like being told, plan A is one day, plan B is the next. They want a plan, and they want to be able to get back to their normal lives in one way or another. Whether that's the spring, the fall, whenever it is, they want to make sure that the plan is transparent and everybody follows the same thing, which means the Big Ten needs to do a better job of coming together and telling Commissioner Warren, stop the bull crap and stop the fluff. Tell us what's really going on here, and so we can figure this out. This is like this is this is a really 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 big deal, and it's something that I think a lot of people have more than they have the right to be upset over it, especially since they've worked so hard to get to the level that they're at, no matter what sport it is, and they go to the university to not only have an education, but to be, but to be an ambassador for the school, to be a person that somebody that somebody can look up to and eventually become one day. I mean, there are so many different factors that relate into that.
I last episode I called it the Big Ten's big fail.
Right.
That title is almost more applicable to what we're talking about today,
I would agree with that 100%.
because it is a big fail. I mean, college football, it, it's like a religion in, in in the same way that soccer is for the rest of the world. Like, it's something you do every Saturday. You invite your friends. You have snacks. You watch college football. It's what you do.
Right.
And to take the cultural icon away when so many Americans need it, if you can do it safely, is completely and utterly selfish and ridiculous. Like, come on.
Oh, do you mean on the part of the fans, or do you mean on the part of the commissioners?
On the part of the people in leadership.
Right.
The,
Exactly.
the leadership.
What makes me upset, really, is just the lack of transparency between everybody involved.
Right.
Right.
We're just venting in a vacuum.
Right.
We have no fact to give you a definitive answer,
No.
one way or the other. Whether college,
and if we did, we'd tell you about it.
yeah, but something we do have a definitive answer on, it appears, or definitive news that will actually happen, is John Big Bones Jones is switching weight classes, apparently. What do you think of this?
This is big. I mean, this is a long time coming. It's going to be weird to see Jones no longer be the light heavyweight champion of the world anymore. Just considering he's been that on and off since 2011. I mean, it's going to be very interesting. I think that this is a long time coming. He's beat every great fighter in the 205-pound weight class. There's challenges for him at heavyweight. There's two big fights that come to mind. Stipe Miocic is one, and the other one is number one contender, Francis Ngannou. Both are super appealing heavyweight fights, and it's something that I'm very interested in. For sure.
And while I have you on the subject, what do you think of the Edgar fight
this weekend. It's very his career. He's one of the best. He's one of the best up and coming prospects in that featherweight division. Edgar's been around for over 12 years. He's still looking to get back to a title fight again. It should be a fantastic fight. I can't wait.
Like, Frankie Edgar was popular when I was watching. He was one of my favorites growing up in the 2008 to 2013 sort of range.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to seeing him. But back to Jones. What are your expectations for Jones?
I think Jones is going to fight Stipe Miocic at some point in 2021, and it will be one of the biggest fights in the history of the sport, and it'll be fantastic.
And who wins?
Jones beats Miocic.
You heard it right here, folks. John the Big Bones Jones will beat Miocic. I'm going to hold you to that, just like you held me to the Bears prediction.
Right.
Earlier in the show. Speaking of my predictions, how is my prediction on the Orlando Magic looking?
Looking good so far.
Markelle Fultz.
Right?
See what that kid did?
Exactly.
He went off. But anyway, I'm transgressing here. So the point I really wanted to drive home today in what we talked about is that sports has the power to bring us together, as I've said before. And currently, those in charge of the sports world are not giving the industry the opportunity to fulfill that. I mean, how fitting was it to watch the NBA yesterday and have everyone wear Black Lives Matter slogans on the back of their chest, on the back of their jersey? I mean, that is what it's all about. That is what sports should be doing. And Gary Bettman, I would argue that we should have the round robin every year.
Oh, I would be okay with it.
Like pandemic playoff hockey
has been unbelievable.
What more could you ask for? And earlier today, the great Jonas Corposalo has finally been solved.
Exactly.
The Blue Jackets are out, as are your beloved Chicago Blackhawks.
That's correct.
I thought they had that game for a second.
I would agree.
They let one slip away. The rest of the day will feature the Bruins and the Hurricanes in an elimination game for Carolina. Montreal and the Flyers in an elimination game for Montreal and Carey Price. And the Blues and Canucks tied at 2 will finish it up at 10:30 Eastern, 9:30 here where we are. Should be a great day of hockey. Has been already. before we go, predictions for the rest of the day in sports?
You're going to see some great games today. Can you reiterate who plays in the NHL tonight again?
We have Bruins and Canes in what is an elimination.
I think Boston wins.
Absolutely. Although I have to give a shout out to my favorite NHL player and former colleague of mine, Brett Pesci, who plays for Carolina. And Brett, if you're watching this, we would love to have you on the show at some point, or I'd love to come out to Raleigh and see you play. But I remember calling your high school games in your senior year, and after seeing you play that last one, I told you you would be an NHL player someday. And 3 weeks later, you were drafted by the Canes and in the NHL versus Hendrik Lundqvist and the Rangers. Yeah, I still remember that first game. Don't think I forgot. So, with that little reminiscence out of the way, is there anything else you want to tell our viewers?
No, I think we covered a lot today. What do you think?
I think we jumped around a little bit. The energy was high, as you could tell. We're both very glad to have sports back and glad to have hockey back, glad to have MLB back and all that. But for now, I've been Avery Schaefer for Zan Bando. Thanks for listening to another episode of Sports Talk from A to Z. Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you.